Good afternoon, and welcome to a special pre-election forum sponsored by the City Club of Canton. My name is Sue Kunkel, and I chair the program committee for the City Club. Today's forum features the Republican and Democratic candidates who are vying for the January 2nd, 1997 term of County Commissioner. Before we begin, will you please all join me in pledging allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Club luncheon forums are usually held on the third Wednesday of each month at the Canton Women's Club. Each month, we strive to present a topic of community interest as our way of serving the residents of Stark County. If anyone in our viewing audience has a suggestion for a future topic or desires to become a part of the City Club organization, please contact Tom Friedman at 830-7249. Prior to the convening of today's forum, I met with the candidates to determine the order in which the political parties would speak and the order in which each candidate would speak within their own political party. The candidates running on the Republican ballot will speak first, followed by the candidates running on a Democratic ballot. Each candidate will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Questions from the audience will be permitted upon completion of all speakers within their respective parties. The first speaker vying for the Republican Party's nomination for County Commissioner is David Held.
Hello, my name is David Held, and I'm seeking the position of Stark County Commissioner that is occupied by Mrs. Jackson currently. I live in Marlboro Township with my wife Sharon and my son Luke, who's 14 months old. And we also have a special guest with my mother-in-law, Betty Anderson, who also lives with us. I'd like to thank the Canton City Club for inviting us here today and for everyone here for coming. Also like the television viewers to know that I appreciate you tuning into this because I think it's an important day. Right now, we're sharing the ideas with the candidates that is going to put Stark County into the future. I have a vision for Stark County. It's twofold. First, the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system currently is weak. It's not because of the law enforcement officials. They're doing the best that they can. They're overworked. Right now we have 6,000 convicted criminals that have been furloughed to the year 2003. Secondly, the financial situation of our county. We've had a lot of information that's been going around as far as what the county's position is. We were in a crisis until the sales tax was passed. There's a lot of talk about eliminating debt. Well, I received some information from the county auditor's office just so that we can clear this up. When Commissioner Jackson took office at the beginning of her term, on December 31st, 1992, the county debt was $10,617,000. 3 days later, she took office. The debt was at $10 million. 1 year later, it shot up to $21 million in 1 year. Now, this is the general fund obligation debt, and this is directly from the auditor's office. Currently today, the debt stands at $19 million. So in 4 short years, the county debt has went from $10 million to $19 million. Fortunately, the taxpayers of Stark County have bailed us out. If it wasn't for the bailout with the sales tax, we would be in a crisis. What we need to do for Stark County, we need to start examining avenues of cost containment. As everyone knows in their own households, if you run up a debt, you're responsible, you're accountable for that. We can't have someone come and bail us out. It needs to be the same way with the government. If we're going to pass a sales tax and we're going to have sales tax dollars available, that's fine, but we should put it towards strengthening the community rather than bailing us out of our irresponsibility as far as managing the funds. It's not an easy job to do. It's difficult and it's challenging. That brings you to my qualifications. Currently, I'm a biomedical representative with Bristol Myers Squibb. And as you know, in the healthcare industry, state-of-the-art technology keeps rising, and the money from Medicare and private insurance keeps going down. It's a challenging situation. 2 years ago, I teamed up with Altman Hospital, the surgeons of Altman Hospital, and Bristol Myers Squibb. We put together a program, a cost containment program. People said that it couldn't be done. They said that it's impossible. You can't draw a consensus from this many people. We came together, we came up with a blue ribbon solution. And what it was this: we consolidated. Through the consolidation, we brought in state-of-the-art technology right here to Stark County, and we also lowered the cost of doing that procedure. As of right now, Altman Hospital is the #1 hospital in cost containment for total hip and knee replacements. This plan has been acted for 2 years. It's going strong, and the surgeons have the opportunity to offer the patient state-of-the-art technology. The administration is meeting their needs through cost containment. They looked at the situation and said, we do not have enough money. We've got to work with what we have. I also had the opportunity in 1988 to represent the United States on the U.S. Olympic trials for wrestling. I traveled over to the communist bloc countries, competed against the Russians, Cubans, and the East Germans. The government over there was oppressive. When we were competing, there were soldiers armed with M16s protecting the doors. It was uncomfortable, at times it was frightening. When we came back to the United States, it made me appreciate what we have here. And what we have in the United States is the ability to come together, to share our struggles, and to share our views to make the community a better place. That's what we need to do here in Stark County. I would like to lead that way, and I'm calling in your support. Again, my name is David Held. I'm seeking the seat of County Commissioner, and I thank you all for listening.
The second speaker is Tom Caldwell.
Good afternoon, everybody here. My name is Tom Caldwell, and I am running for the Republican office of County Commissioner, which is presently held by Ms. Jackson. Just briefly about myself, I've been married for 29 years to my wife, of course, and I have three children, 2 sons and a daughter. I am a former school teacher who taught at Allen Elementary School in Canton City, and I have worked the last approximately 15 to 16 years in the mental health field, 12 of those years in the field of substance abuse, and the last 3 years dealing with the severely mentally ill. The main reason that I'm running for the office of County Commissioner is the criminal justice system. I'm a firm believer that every available jail space, every available bed at the Stark County Jail should be made available to our local judges. I also believe, and I'm a firm believer in this, that we need a separate facility to house nonviolent offenders. I truly believe that the beds at the Stark County Jail need to be used for violent offenders. The funds are out there through the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections to help find other facilities for nonviolent offenders. I don't think that we need to actually have nonviolent offenders housed in the Stark County Jail with the violent offenders. Okay. I also believe that it's not fair to the citizens of Stark County, and just the citizens in general, to have criminals walking the streets. I believe once they've committed their crimes, they need to be locked up and do their time. Secondly, this is not really strictly an issue for the county commissioners, but it should also be for county and elected officials. I'm a firm believer that we as elected officials, both county and city, need to work together to do something with our downtown areas. It's happening in Massillon, and it can, and I think it will sometime happen in downtown Alliance as well as downtown Canton. Just basically in closing, and I apologize for reading this, but I will. This is a way how I feel the Office of County Commissioner should work. Perhaps the most important attribute of a county commissioner is the ability to listen to the needs of the citizens and other elected officials, to compromise and to develop a consensus on priority issues to improve Stark County. I think I can do this. And just one other quick thing in closing. I, as one person, cannot promise anybody anything, but if elected, I'll sure try my best. Thank you very much.
The final speaker on the Republican ballot is Barbara Garofalo Frostacci.
Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Garofalo Frostacci, and I am seeking the Republican nomination for Stark County Commissioner. I'd like to first thank the City Club for providing this forum, and I would like to publicly acknowledge my two opponents, David Held and Tom Caldwell, and wish them well. I was born and raised in Stark County by parents that were committed to this community. I share that commitment, and as a mother of 4, I want to provide an even better community for my children. I want the youth of this area to find a prosperous community when they enter the workforce. I want them to find a safe community in which they can raise their children. As a parent, I work hard to provide support and direction to my children. I'd like to share with you today that direction that I would like to take Stark County. I want to share 3 important goals with you. First, debt reduction and safety and welfare of Stark County. I stand behind the current plan of paying off the county debt and directing additional dollars to the criminal justice system. For growth and economic development, Stark County must be debt-free and fiscally sound. The safety and welfare of the citizens of Stark County is also a must. Monies must be provided for the sheriff and the judges to do their jobs. Second, develop a strategic plan. One of the first things that I will do when I'm sworn in is to ask my fellow commissioners to join me in developing a strategic plan for the 21st century, not because it makes political sense, but because it is practical. Success is not a matter of chance. We must work to position Stark County to be the best county in the state of Ohio. There are several options that I would like to see included to explore the challenges that we will be facing. These include options for privatization, development of a rainy day fund, and examining the possibility of reducing the tax burden on the citizens of Stark County. Third and finally, strengthening the lines of communication. None of this will get done without cooperation and communication among the elected office holders. Strong lines of communication must be reestablished among elected officials and those in Columbus. I know that the county officials meet on a regular basis, but I propose that we invite our legislators to join us at meetings either monthly or bi-monthly so that we can share ideas and talk about what is happening at the state level and how it is impacting us locally. We don't want those in Columbus to forget the 7th largest county in the state of Ohio. Since graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Cincinnati, I have worked at Altman Hospital for the last 19 years in a variety of positions. I currently am the director of Altman Alternatives, a department that I researched, developed, and made operational. I currently am responsible for the staff, budget, and operations, all skills that will benefit me as your Stark County Commissioner. My commitment to the community extends not only to my job, but to the many boards and community positions that I hold. In closing, I know there's a lot of talk about the name game in this election, but remember, mine is the only one with 3 names on the ballot, Barbara Garofalo Frostacci, and I ask for your support. Thank you.
If David and Tom would please join us at the podium. We now open up the program for questions from you. Please remember to frame your questions or your comments in the form of a question and direct that question to a specific person. Candidates will be limited to a response time of 1 minute or less to each question. Dick?
Thanks, Sue. This is addressed to all three candidates. What particular attribute or what quality do you have that you bring to this campaign that you feel that you are uniquely bringing to the campaign that perhaps your opponents may not have?
I'll answer that first. I think one of the qualities or the attributes that I have that is important for this position is being able to bring a number of people, a number of departments together and draw a consensus. That's something that can be very challenging. A lot of times, especially in private practice in the healthcare industry, people had said, situation at Altman Hospital, that it couldn't be done, but we did do that. And it was just by drawing the ideas of several people and bringing them together, consolidating it into one thought pattern. That's what I think that my main quality is for this position.
I believe that my quality is my ability to collaborate with different individuals and again work towards a common goal.
I believe mine is because of the fact that I've worked in, with, and around the criminal justice system over the past many years, through having a halfway house, as well as being on the board of directors at the Community Treatment and Correctional Center. I've worked very closely with the judges and prosecutors in this area, and I think that would really benefit me and the community in general.
Additional questions? Yes?
Could each of the candidates say what specific efforts they would have to create economic opportunities in Stark County?
Before you answer, please use the mic.
Yeah, okay. Okay, the question was as far as increasing economic opportunities in Stark County. Well, I think that there's a number of ways that we can create economic opportunities, but as all of you well know, that you have to have a strong foundation first. We need to clean up Stark County first. We need to find better ways at managing the funds that we have now. We do have the sales tax. That may not be here in the years to come. We may be working with less taxes. And we need to put programs now into place so that we have them ready. When the time comes, if the sales tax is not available, we can't be in a panic saying, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Let's put the sales tax back on the ballot. We need to develop programs now for the future. So in answer to that question, I think economic opportunities are something that we definitely need to look into, but the first step is we need to examine where we're at fiscally right now in Stark County.
Just going back to what I said earlier, being debt-free, I think will bring a lot of businesses into Stark County. We will be fiscally sound, providing a larger tax base, and I think that will be good for the economy, as well as having, of course, the intermodal here and the Port Authority. I think all of those things are bringing quite a bit to the community.
I believe that you know, if you look around Stark County, you'll see Alliance, Massillon, you know, even some of the smaller burgs. You'll see a lot of empty buildings, places that's been closed. I think we really need to try to get outside businesses back into this area. One way to do it, and I believe if it's needed, we should use these tax abatements. That's a possibility.
Yes.
As commissioners, what do you plan on doing as far as funding the secondary and elementary school systems problem in Stark County? What would you do as a commissioner?
The school systems are not funded by the county. We have levies. Each individual school district has their levies. We are responsible for the Stark County Board of Education. Is that what you're talking about, Gary?
What would you contribute to, as a commissioner, how would you contribute to helping Stark County's educational process of retaining funds or receiving funds from the state?
From the state. I guess I'm not prepared at this time to answer that question, Gary.
That's a good question. As Barbara just said, directly, the county commissioners are not responsible for the funding of the secondary education system. However, what the county commissioner has a platform of leadership to speak out to the media, as we're doing right now. And I feel very strongly about the school systems here, because I think that obviously we're struggling in that area too when it comes to funds. If you look at the county jail has better facilities than most of our middle schools do in Stark County. And that's a problem. So as Stark County Commissioner, I would definitely act as a leader to bringing this out to the citizens and trying to draw a consensus and bring some solutions to that.
I just think that we, as elected officials, Commissioner as well as other elected officials, should probably work closer with our elected officials in Columbus to see if there are additional monies available, for the different school districts.
Yes.
Yes, all three candidates have made the statement that they'd like to work with Columbus to resolve the problems here. Are you willing, all three candidates willing to bring the private sector in and see what their comments are, or is your intent to exclude the rank and file in our community?
No, my intent is not to take away the private sector. I think that's a very important part, and of course, I would be anxious to hear what the private sector had to say, and I believe that it's important to listen to the needs of the citizens. But I think it's also important to work with the legislators who are passing legislation, who are taking our cases to the floors, and make sure that they know what is happening here. So yes, it would be a consolidation of the citizens, working with the elected officials and working with legislators in Columbus.
In answer to that question, I think it's very important that we work with the outside elected officials in Columbus to examine every avenue possible to make Stark County stronger. But again, I must reiterate that as county commissioner, there's a lot of work that we need to do at home first. And again, if our home foundation is not strong, it really doesn't matter quite as much what we bring from the outside, because we can be decaying from within the inside. So again, I would definitely examine those avenues in the private sector, from the elected officials down in Columbus as well, for new solutions.
I believe, and hopefully to answer your question just briefly, I think it has to be a package deal. The private sector and the elected officials really need to work together, to get things done.
Thank you. Before we begin with the Democratic Party's nominations, I would like to bring to your attention an event that City Club is doing on March 20th. On March 20th, we will feature a Lincoln Douglas debate between students from McKinley and Timken Senior High Schools. We encourage you to make reservations to attend this event and support those high schools and those students in their debate process. Reservations, if you're interested, reservations for the luncheon can be made by calling Tom Friedman at 830-7249. We now begin with the candidates who are vying for the Democratic Party's nomination for County Commissioner. The first speaker is Mary M. Sorelli.
Good afternoon. Thank you once again for inviting me to the City Club debates, and again, thank you, City Club, for continuing your community involvement. I am Mary Sorelli, and I wish to be your Stark County Commissioner again. I was born in Uniontown, Pennsylvania on July 4th, 1939. I'm the daughter of a coal miner, and I've spent over 50 years in Stark County, and I want to continue to be a very active part of it, as I have 2 sons, 3 grandsons. I am a licensed practical nurse, graduated in 1969 from the Canton City Schools Licensed Practical Nurse Program. I have attended Malone College. I have, in the last summer, just graduated and received my certification as a certified mediator from Akron University. I see Stark County as a flower, not yet in full bloom. Stark County is on the verge of a fantastic growth and opportunities, and I want to help it reach maturity. Leading periodicals have listed Stark County as one of the best places to live. We have outstanding universities and colleges, abundant water supplies, fine transportation systems, and wonderful citizens with strong work ethics. With Interstate 77 and Route 30 and an adequate railroad network and a fine airport, Stark County can and will be a major distribution center, not only for goods and services distributed here, but goods and services distributed throughout other areas that will pass through our community. It's a great place for us to live, but we want to make sure it's a great place for our children and our children's children. Yes, the debt is being retired. Yes, I'm very proud that the people of Stark County sought to pass the sales tax. The sales tax program that was passed was my particular program that I implemented, 0.5%. I said we need to have the money to be needy, not greedy. I would like to touch on the two real issues of the Democrat Party's campaign in this election. There are only two issues, that of leadership and honesty. A leader does not jump to false conclusions. A leader does their homework. A leader does not make false accusations, nor becomes belligerent. A leader shouldn't have to spend time damning their opponents. A true leader leads by example, and then does not run to others to do their bidding. Leadership is based on honesty, and for the sake of Stark County, I pledge to make sure it is still a government of, by, and for the people. So far, Gail Jackson has centered her entire campaign on being upset that she has competition and what her mind perceives as the truth. Here is the truth. I did not ask anyone to run for office. There is a lot said about two Jacksons running. They say a big name game. Has anyone noticed that there are two Marys running? Did you hear me yell and scream about name games? I don't think so. Did I ask if Gail planted Mary Jackson to confuse my name? Yes, Mary Jackson did sign my petition. And she has that right as a citizen of this county. I did not seek her signature. That was sought by Rachel Rohr. I have my petitions here. Anybody's more than welcome to look at them. She is by far not the first person to have signed this petition. Rachel Rohr, by the way, had a friend call and tell me that she was out circulating the petitions in the Southwest End, and they stopped by Mary Jackson's restaurant, Sugar Bear, and they were real thrilled to say she signed my petition. I since then have read that Mary Jackson said she would have even signed Gail's petition had she bothered to ask her. You know, I don't control people's minds nor their mouths. They did that in their full heartfelt honesty. And as you may notice today, she happens to be Mary Jackson sitting at the table I'm sitting. You know, I do believe in competition. That's what America's all about. I place before anyone my public record as being a public servant. Being a good elected official means to do more than sit in meetings or posture for reporters. It means taking phone calls and returning them, and also fielding all questions from citizens and employees. A good commissioner serves all Stark County residents, not just a few influential ones. So on this issue, it's clear. A vote for me and all the people of Stark County will be represented, not just a certain select group of people. You know, I feel sorry for the people that signed a paper that went out to some Democrat voters asking for their support because it had nothing in it but a paper filled full of lies. Obviously, I brought to your attention a blatant lie in the signing of the petition. Okay. I thank you very much, and a vote for Mary Sorelli on March 19th is a vote for honesty in government. Thank you.
The second speaker is Gail Jackson.
Good afternoon. I'm running for commissioner because I want to finish the job I began 4 years ago. I want to make sure that the county's entire debt is paid off in less than 4 years from today. I made a promise to pay off our county's entire debt, and I am proud to say that our county will be debt-free in less than 4 years. People tell me that government should get their financial house in order, and I tell them in Stark County it is being done now. I want to continue the expansion of our criminal justice system. Before I ran for elected office, I worked for the Perry Township Police Department. I later served as volunteer dispatcher after I was elected Perry Township trustee. As a result of my experience in law enforcement, I see the criminal justice system as a top priority for our county. Last year, this current Board of Commissioners reopened the 48-bed misdemeanor wing at the county jail, and this year, the Board of Commissioners has given the sheriff the funds to open a new 96-bed wing. Expanding jail space to house more criminals will continue to be a priority of mine. In my next term, I will be working towards creating a detention facility for nonviolent criminals, such as repeat DUI offenders, so that they would serve their jail sentence and also be given rehabilitation, but leave valuable jail space at the county jail for violent offenders. I have also fought hard to bring new jobs and industry into our county. Economic growth and job creation are essential to a community. Public-private partnerships, such as the intermodal facility in southern Stark County, show how government can work to create good jobs for our residents. I am very active in community and civic activities as well. I serve on the Board of Trustees of the YMCA of Western Stark County, the executive boards of the Stark County Regional Planning Committee, the Northeast Ohio 4-County Regional Planning Development Organization, and I am a member of the Local Emergency Planning Committee, the Stark County Microfilming Board, the Job Training Partnership Agency, and the Western Stark and Alliance Democratic Clubs. I care about my community and work hard for Stark County residents. I am proud to say that I received the sole endorsement of the Stark County Democratic Party. The Democratic Party decided that I was the most qualified candidate for this job. I am proud to be a Democrat, and I am proud that my party supports me. I also received the endorsements of the Greater Canton AFL-CIO and the Massillon Trades and Labor Council. What makes their endorsements unique is that they ended a long-standing precedent of not endorsing in a primary, any primary, to endorse me for commissioner. They believed that this race was too important and they had to make a stand. And I'm proud to say that they chose to stand with me. These endorsements are nice, but the only real endorsement that matters is the endorsement of the voters of Stark County on March 19th. Yes, and as many of you have noticed, one of the candidates for commissioner in this race does share my last name, and I think that's important to note. The voters will decide if this is a mere coincidence or not. But here are some facts. Former Commissioner Sorelli decided that she wanted to be commissioner again after the voters removed her from this office about a year and a half ago. She did this after serving as a Canton councilwoman for only 11 days. 11 days, and it was time to jump ship. Also running in my race is Mary Jackson, a woman who is a friend of Mary Sorelli's, and by the way, shares my last name. Mary Jackson, who has never even voted in a Democratic primary in her entire life, was amazingly the first person to sign one of Sorelli's filing petitions. My supporters believe this was done to fool the voters and to split the votes so that Sorelli could attempt to win. But you know, only the voters can decide whether or not this was all a mere coincidence. I know in my heart that the Democratic voters of Stark County will see through this for what it really is. All I ask is that the voters examine the three candidates, look at their records, and vote for the person who has their best interests at heart. If they do that, I know my efforts will be successful. Thank you.
The final speaker is Mary Jackson.
I'm Mary Jackson, and I'd like to thank the City Club for inviting me here today. I'd like to fill in the blanks that the repository felt compelled to leave open. I attended Perry High School, and I did receive my GED through the Canton City School Systems. I was licensed in real estate law and principles and practices through course studies at Walsh College. And I have 1 quarter to complete to receive my associate's degree in accounting and business management through ICS. I ran into an old friend on Sunday, and a comment he made painted the picture of erosion that politics has undertaken. His few simple words were, "Mary, you're too nice to be a politician." You know, it's gotten to where if you oppose the good old boy club, they gang up on you like a bunch of street thugs. As evidence in this letter that was circulated throughout Stark County. Why don't you want competition? Are you afraid your opponent will dig up the truth about what's really going on? In this letter, Gail Jackson's opponents are accused of scheming, political dirty tricks, and voter fraud without any facts to back it up. It's time for the voters of Stark County to be made aware of who is actually playing political dirty tricks and trying to fool them. Fact, in 1992, candidate Gail Jackson at this very City Club meeting said, "I will not close Molly Stark." Then she voted to close it. Fact, in 1992, candidate Gail Jackson said, "I will not impose taxes like my opponent." And only 4 months later, she voted to impose a $10 license plate tax increase. Fact, she states that she is fighting to eliminate the county's entire debt. Public records indicate that when she took office, the county's debt was $10,617,000, and today, at this time, it is $19,068,000. In fact, she states that I am the first signer on Mary Sorelli's petition. I'm actually the 25th. And Gail, I would have signed yours had you asked me. That is my right. Mary Jackson will not use political trickery. Mary Jackson will not vote to impose additional taxes just to hide ineffective management. Mary Jackson will bring integrity and honesty back into Stark County. And Mary Jackson will work as a public servant, not a politician. Mary Jackson will donate the 3% per year mandatory unfunded state raise back into the community. So on March 19th, nominate this Mary and nominate this Jackson for your Stark County Commissioner.
Mary and Gail, if you would please join us. We now open up this part of the program for questions from the audience. Please remember to frame your questions or your comments in the form of a question and direct your question to a specific person. Candidates will be limited to a response time of 1 minute or less.
I'd like to ask all 3 candidates what they would see as issues concerning economic growth in Stark County, what types of things they would be concerned with and possible solutions.
I think one of the biggest issues in Stark County financially right now is we need to get onto an accrual accounting system so that this county actually knows how much money is available. With the cash system that we have now, Nobody knows. If you look at the books, and I've looked at them for the last few weeks, everything is helter-skelter.
I think economic growth in Stark County and Northeast Ohio is vitally important, and that's why I'm so proud to be part of the team that put together Neotech, which is a Northeast Ohio Trade and Economic Consortium that not only promotes Stark County, but promotes Northeast Ohio, which in turn challenges industry and growth to come from the nation and the world into Stark County. I think regionalization efforts such as those are vitally important. We need to bring jobs and industry into Stark County. Another facility I'm very proud of is the intermodal facility, and I was a vital part of that team that started the intermodal facility on the Stark County farm, and it is already enticing jobs and industry into our area.
Thank you. That's a very good question. I'm also proud of the fact that I was part of the team that brought the intermodal site into Stark County. When I came in as a commissioner over 5 years ago, one of the first things I sang out the fact of this is the greatest community. It is a big hidden secret because we had the greatest schools in the, what I said earlier, the cost of living to come here. I see Stark County as a distribution hub, and I said it back then, and it is occurring now. There's jobs spinning off. KeyCorp is going to bring in possibly 150 to 200 new workers, and that is a service organization. They don't have goods to distribute, but they have services that are collectively coming here. When I was a council person, I've actively walked door to door and talked to the businesses there and helped them expand. ReadyCon was my baby that I found that was a blossom there that needed to help grow, and they, with Bob Mercier at Mercier Tool and Die, they expanded, and we all know where ReadyCon is now and how fast that has grown and became a wonderful thing for our community. So this is going to be a definite distribution hub. They're looking on the East Coast for places like us. Thank you.
Yes.
Mary, I have a question for you. As a resident of the city of Canton, you took out a petition to run for councilman at large, knowing at that time that you were going to seek the office of county commissioner. And I felt, in my own personal opinion, which I voted for you, is that that was kind of a rotten thing to do, was to run for city council and then decide to run for county commissioner on the basis that knowing that the people supported you and so forth, they could have supported another candidate that would still be there if, in case you do win this election. And I'd like to know why you did that.
Okay, I'll be glad to answer that, sir. I am a public servant, and everyone that knows me knows I love serving this community. I was not about to sit out a year and not do anything and not be a productive person. The reason I'm running for commissioner, and by the way, it's not my fault that the election is going to be March 19th. I did not make the primaries. It would have been in May. It wouldn't have been 11 days. It would have been the filing date then. But I have chose to run for the Stark County Commissioner because I love serving this community on a larger basis than even City Council can. I work fine with all the council people down there. I have a track record, and I'm expanding it as a commissioner because you have more responsibilities, and I want to take on those responsibilities as I've done in the past. I really deeply love Stark County, and I think, Bob, that after you assess the situation, that you probably may vote for me again. If not, that's your right. But I think everyone that knows me knows how much I care about my community. And I will be serving my complete year if I am elected, as I've always served in the past. If I do not win this election, I'm sorry, I'll continue to serve.
Yes.
Today, families have to look 20 years ahead to save money for children's college education. We're looking now at saving money for our retirements. We have to plan 20 and 30 years down the road. What, as a county commissioner, are you going to bring to the county and to meet what I think is an obligation that has to come from that office also? We seem to be looking in short increments, but that does not reflect the burdens on families out there, and I think a burden that also falls on the government.
Who's your question?
To all the candidates.
I think that's an excellent question. When I became commissioner and started my term in 1993, I walked into a crisis situation in Stark County. Stark County has been asking and had been asking for money since 1985 because they did not have enough money to operate. It was always reaction to a crisis, reaction to a crisis, reaction to a crisis. Finally, now, during my term, Stark County's in the position to look at the crisis, to face it, to solve it, and then have the opportunity to plan for the future. The most important thing we can do for the future is to pay off the county debt. That I inherited. We can talk about $10 million, we can talk about $16 million, but I inherited the new jail wing that was not paid for and not financed when I came into office. I inherited the renovation of the Stark County Courthouse. When I came into office, I did not make that debt. I inherited those projects. I'm solving them now.
I think that making our county fiscally sound is one of the most important priorities of all elected officials. And when I say all, everybody has to work together in unity and quit passing the blame. There's numerous newspaper articles that's been reported where people say, that is not my job to look into that. If you're an elected official, you have been entrusted with these people's faith. If nothing else, the goodwill you owe the voters of this county to be in unity with the other elected officials and get this county fiscally sound so that you can look at the future. Right now, you can't look at it because of the financial problems that this county is in.
That's a very good question. We have to all have a vision of what we hope for our children and our children's children and other generations to come. One thing very important in this community is A, to be fiscally sound. Secondly, we need jobs because too many children are leaving this area to find jobs elsewhere. But like I said, with this community here becoming the distribution hub, there's going to be some very good paying jobs that are going to come here. I'm very confident of that, and it'll have a domino effect. And that effect will make jobs for the children of today, my grandchildren. I don't want to have to travel maybe to another West Coast state or a southern state to visit them, or for them to be able to have their families be raised in a fine community. So with the tax that we have implemented and has been passed by you, the voters, who are paying down the debt and putting the safety and security into this community, it will happen. It is happening, as I said, with all the jobs that are coming, and there's more to come. This is only the beginning. Remember, this is a flower, and it's just starting to bloom. Thank you.
Shane?
Yes, I have a question for my mother, Commissioner Gail Jackson. Would you like to tell us what happened with Molly Stark Hospital?
I'm so glad someone asked that question instead of leaving it as an issue. I did not want to close Molly Stark. The state forced the Stark County Board of Commissioners to close Molly Stark. The state said that this fine institution was not going to house our MRDD clients any longer, just as orphanages don't house children any longer. They said our Medicare and Medicaid monies were to be taken away. Well, we had the choice. Were we going to downsize on our own, or were we going to let the Ohio Department of Health come in with buses and ambulances and remove our fragile clients and put them wherever they found a spot in the state, or were we going to allow them to choose the homes they were going to live in with their families? We chose the kinder, gentler solution. It isn't the solution we wanted, but the state said you will and you shall.
Can I take a minute to respond to that, please?
Yes, you can. We have, by the way, 4 minutes.
I would like to respond to that. Yes, it was state mandated that Molly Stark Hospital close, and that is understandable. But Gail Jackson, as a candidate, knew that, was told that. There are affidavits on file that she was told not to tell the employees or the families at Molly Stark that she would try to keep that facility open. She gave everybody there a false hope.
We have time for one brief question.
My question is for Mary Jackson. Mary, I read that somewhere that you've never voted in a Democratic primary and only 3 times in your entire life. What makes you feel that you would be accepted as a respectable candidate for commissioner when you yourself don't even vote?
I do vote. I have an interest. I don't see how my voting record has anything to do with me as a person or my abilities. I have the ability to do the job. I have the caring to do the job. I have Stark County at heart.
This concludes our luncheon forum for today. We would like to thank all the candidates for coming and sharing their ideas. City Club luncheon forums are broadcast by the Community Television Consortium and seen on Warner Cable Channel 11 on Monday evenings at 6 p.m. and Maslin Cable Channel 50 on Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Again, please register for the March 20th City Club Forum, which will feature debaters from McKinley and Timken Senior High Schools. Thank you.